and not a follower, and I'm going to stand up for principle. Oh yeah, I know I'm preaching anyhow. Yeah, if you're ever going to do any real kingdom work, you might as well know that sometime you're going to stand by yourself. You're going to understand that sometime you're going to be unpopular. And we've got to get past the point where we've got to have everybody like us. Just got quiet in here. If everybody like you, you ain't doing nothing. Y'all ain't gonna help me preach in here. If everybody likes what you're doing, you're not doing much of anything. But if you're ever gonna do kingdom work, the Bible said, blessed are you when men shall revile you and speak all manner of evil against you falsely for my name's sake. Remember Paul, the apostle, said in 2 Timothy 4:16, when he stood trial, he said, at my first answer, no man stood with me, but all men forsook me. Here was a man who planted churches all around Asia Minor and beyond. Here was a man who preached to people in Philippi and in Thessalonica and everywhere else, who healed the sick and raised the dead and performed the miracles. Come on, somebody. But then when he needed a character reference, all of those people who were blessed by his ministry stuck their finger out to the political winds and said, if I stand with Paul, they might take my grant. Y'all ain't gonna like me today. If I stand with Paul, they might strip me of my position. If I stand with Paul, the mayor might not like me. And so when Paul's trial came up, all of them went the other way and said, no man stood with me. Oh, but Paul said, notwithstanding, the Lord stood with me. Oh, you ought to tell your neighbor, I'm learning to stand by myself. Oh, I want your help. I'll appreciate your help. I'll enjoy your pat on the back. I'm grateful for you blessing me and encouraging me, but I don't have to have it. Come on, y'all. At some point, you got to be able to stand on your own 2 feet. You got to be able to praise when nobody else is praising. Dance when nobody else is dancing. Pray when nobody else is praying. You got to be able to preach to yourself and get happy off your own sermon. Oh, my. When David looked around and couldn't get anyone to pat him on the back or speak an encouraging word, he preached to himself. He encouraged himself. He patted himself on the back. He told himself that everything was going to be all right. But here we have this picture here. Picture this. Here's the man of God. Here is Elijah in a cave. He was a man who knew how to stand, but in our text we find Elijah in a cave. Everybody say a cave, a cave, a cave. What is it, Pastor Swan, about this cave you want to get us to know? The cave, first of all, brothers and sisters, is a place of hiding. In the book of Joshua, 5 kings fled and hid themselves in a cave at Makkedah. It's where you go when you want to be alone. It's where you go when you want to get away from it all. It's where you go when you want to hide yourself. The cave is a place of separation. It's a place of isolation. When there is a strong attack against you, the enemy will try to isolate you, will cause you to withdraw from others. The cave is a place of depression. One of the greatest signs of being in a cave is the spirit of depression. Depression is not just an attitude or a feeling, but depression is a spirit. Isaiah calls it the spirit of heaviness. He said in Isaiah 61:3, to appoint unto them that mourn in Zion, to give unto them beauty for ashes, the oil of joy for mourning, the garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness, depression, heaviness, somewhere that is dark. It's darkest, it waxes dim, it's dull, it's colorless, it's tainted, it's fearful, it's sorrowful, full of grief. In the cave there is a feeling of hopelessness and dejection. You feel low when you go into a cave. The cave is a place of fear. For it was so when Jezebel cut off the prophets of the Lord, that Obadiah took 100 prophets and hid them by 50 in a cave and fed them bread and water. The cave is a place, my brothers and sisters, where your faith does not mobilize, but where fear paralyzes. What is fear, Pastor Swan? Fear is believing more in what the enemy says than what God has to say. But God has not given us the spirit of fear. Fear is more than just a bad feeling. It's a spirit. It's alive. But God did not give us fear, but power and love and a sound mind. Brothers and sisters, often we find ourselves in a cave. The cave is a spiritual reality. You may never walk into a natural cave, but at some point in your faith walk, you will experience a cave. A cave is a spiritual condition. You can be rich and be in a cave. You can be surrounded by loved ones, surrounded by folk, and be in a cave. You can be anointed and be in a cave. You can be the pastor and be in a cave. You can be the deacon or the missionary or the mother or another church leader and be in the cave. You can cast out devils on Sunday morning and be in the cave on Monday. Nobody is exempt from the cave. Everybody won't know what I'm talking about, but somebody knows what it feels like to be in a cave. Somebody knows what it feels like to feel isolated, to feel alone, to run as hard and as fast as you can and feel like you haven't moved one foot and haven't made any progress at all. Somebody knows what it feels like to be in a cave. Oh, you have to really strain your eyes to see something good ahead of you in the cave. You're fighting feelings of discouragement. You haven't seen the manifestation of your promise. It seems like you're standing still and marking time. You've been faithful to God, but it seems like nothing is happening. The enemy is trying to make you question if you're even anointed at all. Oh, it seems like you can hardly even feel God. It's like every good thing that should be coming to you is not coming to you. It seems like you have to suck up the little bit of good through a straw. Is there anybody in here that knows what it's like to be in a cave? Oh, I'm talking to somebody. I'm talking to somebody. I know this ain't the place where you want to shout. This ain't the place where you want to dance. But I just wonder if anybody would be honest enough to just slip up your hand and say, I know what the preacher's talking about. Oh, come on, somebody. And here we have the great, mighty, awesome prophet, the man of God, the man who raised up dead folk, the man who wrought miracles. Come on, somebody. Found himself in a cave. I want to tell you, I don't care how anointed you think you are. You will come to a point in your life where you will be in a cave. I don't care how well you can sing, how well you can preach, how rich you are. Come on, somebody. Whether you're the boss on your job, I don't care what station you have in life, what your socioeconomic status is, how many degrees you have. At some point in life, you will find yourself. Look at somebody say, in a cave. In a cave. What disturbs me, Sister Carol, about this particular text is Elijah does something I did not expect for him to do.